Okay, this is kind of my last-ditch effort here. My name is Richard Medina. I live in Brooklyn, New York. My youngest child, his name is Patrick. He's 10, turning 11 at the end of February. He's a functioning autistic, but he's also classified as emotionally disturbed. He attends a special school here in New York, P369, down by the Brooklyn Navy Yard. 2 weeks ago, he came home from school on the school bus like normal with a bruised hand. His knuckle was red and he had a scar here. I immediately asked him, "How'd you get hurt?" Because he tends to get hurt. And without missing a beat, he said, "My teacher hit me with a ruler." I freaked out. Oh my God, what's going on? I immediately called the police to file a report because a developmentally disabled child who's being hit at school is a problem. I called our local precinct. They sent a unit down to us so I could file a report. And we did. The next morning, I went to the school and I confronted the assistant principal, the school nurse, and whoever's in charge of the buses. I'm not going to name names because making this video is probably going to get me in some legal trouble anyway, but I can't think of anything else to do. Nobody knew. He was injured and bleeding in school, and the only reason why I know this is because he told me that his classmates said, "Oh, look, you're bleeding," and nothing was done about it. So the nurse wasn't informed, the AP didn't know, and no one who takes care of the buses happened to notice one of their special kids injured. And I told him how very upsetting it was, and keeping my cool, I said I want an investigation started, and I don't feel my son is safe here any longer, and so on. So, after some, butt covering double talk that, of course, the AP gave me, she said, "If that's what you want, we'll turn it over to the principal. I really wish you hadn't called the cops. You should have spoke to us first." Yeah, like that's gonna happen. Anyway, 2 days later, I get a call from the principal, and he says, as per your request, the incident has been turned over to OSI, which is the Office of School Investigations here in New York. Here is your file number. They'll call you. Well, so I wait. Now it's 2 weeks later, and I haven't received a phone call. So this morning we decided to call them and say, "This is our case number. What's going on?" Would you believe it? Their response is, "We don't know what you're talking about. We have no case, no file, no nothing." And yet my son's school swears that there were investigators there. Sweep it under the rug much? The police were no better. Our local precinct, who took the report, they called me. And the detective says, "Well, the report says that your son was incoherent, didn't remember what happened, so there's nothing we can do about it." And I said, "Well, that's funny because I was standing right there, and he said, 'My teacher hit me, I was bleeding.' Well, why doesn't the report say that?" And they said, "Oh, so there's a discrepancy between what the officer wrote and what your son and you said." Okay, we need to straighten that out. And since his school is in a different district, we have to send it over to that precinct over there for them to take care of. They'll call you. Guess what? They haven't called me. So we decided to call a lawyer this morning because we can't think of anything else to do. And the lawyer said, we can't help you. We won't take the case against the Board of Education because your son's not suffering any obvious trauma. There was no doctor visits, emergency reports, or third-party witnesses, blah, blah, blah. So they're going to get away with it. They're actually going to get away with hurting my son. The law can't help us. The cops gave us the runaround, and so did the schools. I'm making this video to ask for help. If there's anyone out there who can help us, TV, news, anyone, someone in government who cares that an autistic child is being abused in school by one of his teachers, could you please help us? My name is Richard Medina. I live in Brooklyn, New York. My son is Patrick. He's going to be 11 at the end of February. He is disabled, but a really sweet kid, and he shouldn't be getting beat up in school for any reason.